small, like you don't measure up, you don't matter. That's the essence of shame right there. Shame is not that you're a bad person or that you've done something bad. Shame is that sense of not being quite good enough, not measuring up, not pleasing other people. All right? That's the essence of shame. You don't need your older brother around to tell you what a loser you are. You've got that voice in your head all the time. And that voice can get triggered when certain people or events or situations, words come up and bam, a boatload of emotions washes over us. We're 8 years old again on the playground all alone, not picked for anybody's team. We've been fed artificial descriptions of what it means to be a boy or a girl, right? So boys are supposed to be tough and strong and decisive and good providers. So what do we call an assertive man? A leader. Girls are to be pretty and demure, peacemakers, subservient. What do we call an assertive woman? Not a leader. I heard it. So when a man becomes unemployed through no fault of his own, like when the organization right-sizes as if it was wrong-sized before, the feelings of anger, frustration, fear, and so on are fueled by shame. He is less than all the descriptions that he was raised with. Not being a good provider is one that I heard as a parish priest and counselor for years. Probably nobody is directly telling this person exactly this, that you're a loser, but he's telling himself that when he says, I'm not a good provider, I lost my job, I'm a loser. Okay? Women, especially single moms, who become unemployed have a whole other constellation of issues to deal with in addition to what many men experience. But hear this. You are not the number on your paycheck. You are not the grade on your report card. You aren't all those terrible things your mom said about you. You aren't the disappointment your dad thinks you are. You're a child of God. You're an inheritor of the kingdom of heaven. And think of this. Of all the permutations and combinations of genes and chromosomes available to creation in the history of the universe, there's never been another you. Dig this. There'll never be another you ever again. You have an absolute right to be here. And I'd like to add at this point, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. It's a long haul season. Finding a job. Finding a job is a job. You're going to need a good team. You're going to need support. You'll need lots of little league affirmation. We're going to practice that, but first I have to give you some instructions and you have to swallow that last bite. So you're going to turn to somebody next to you, and if it's a man, you're going to say, attaboy. If it's a woman, you're going to say, attagirl. And then you'll add something positive, like, way to go, you've got this, you can do this. Do y'all understand? Direction is clear? My Marine Corps gunny sergeant at this point would say, make your head go up and down. Good. Okay, so swallow your last bite. All set? Turn to your neighbor and say, attaboy, attagirl, you got this. All right. Hey, thanks. This is always the hard part, getting people back into the room. People dig this part. You should see it in a huge auditorium. It's just almost impossible to get people refocused. So thanks for getting back. Because it feels good, doesn't it? You're going to come back into this room in the future and you're going to remember this little exercise, and you'll hear the buzz of Little League affirmation vibrating around in here. You're going to smile, and it's going to come into your heart again if you let it. It will. Go to a Little League ball field like the one in our town, and you'll have Little League affirmation raining down on you all afternoon. You'll hear all around you, attaboy, attagirl, you got this, you can do this, come on, you got it, all afternoon. Well, Little League affirmation is simple. It's easy to do. We just did it, right? Simple and easy. Doing it for the long haul season is the difficult part. It's difficult enough for 162 games. Add in spring training and any postseason games, it's even more difficult, right? Really difficult over the long haul season of a marriage, or a family, or a friendship, or a job search. Really difficult. Simple and easy is not the problem. Consistency is. It's like flossing teeth, right? We know that flossing is good for us. You gotta do it all the time, keep up with it. Easy, anybody can do it. Staying with it is the hard part, isn't it? Consistency. Well, that's why you need a team. Now, Bob and Emily were this sweet older couple in my first parish. They've been married more than 50 years. We used to ask them about their success in this long-term relationship. And Bob would say, it's patience, perseverance, and sweet oil. Sweet oil are those kind words and actions that people do on a daily basis with each other. Patience, perseverance, and sweet oil. Emily would say, don't sweat the small stuff. And then she'd wink and remind us, it's all small stuff. Yeah? Patience, perseverance, grace, kindness, flexibility. That not only gets you through the long haul season, it makes the long haul season worth it. Worth it. My friend Bobby had a promising baseball career. He played in the prestigious Cape Cod League until he blew out his ankle one day. Ended his career. He had a roommate with the annoying habit of chewing his food with his mouth open, but it didn't stop there. This guy apparently talked with his mouth open and managed to smack at the same time. Okay? Bobby spent every day with this guy, ate most of the meals with this guy. It was driving him nuts. He had to find a way to move beyond this annoyance because it was affecting his play on the field. So Bobby started eating like this guy and realized this is really hard to do. Oh. He began to appreciate the guy's talent, if you will. Then he thought of how important the guy was to the success of the team. Apparently he had a really strong arm, great flexibility, great range. As a shortstop, he could hit the ground any number of times during the game, pop up and keep going again. He could do all kinds of things. Bobby was really impressed with him. He began to admire the guy, cut him some slack, accept him for who he was, and actually see him as a friend, not just a teammate. Acceptance, tolerance, appreciation, adaptability. Those are equally valuable aspects of a long-haul relationship, and it's all part of being a team. I had a team when I was looking for a new job. I was unemployed for 2.5 years. My wife, incidentally, was unemployed for 1.5 years during the same period. It was really rough. We lost everything. I'd share it with you, but you'd all burst into tears and we'd never get anywhere. It was awful. We spent 30 years punching all the right tickets. We were married as sophomores in college, and in many ways we were better off financially as kids than we were as people in our middle 50s. But I had this employment ministry, Harry Urschel. And Harry never gave up on me gave up on any of us. 2.5 years, y'all. I heard Little League affirmation all the time here from the leaders and the participants. So every Tuesday, I think it was, I put on a suit, shaved, used valuable gas to get all the way out here to listen, to learn, to support others, and to be supported in return. I learned, for example, that if I had done anything once, I had done it. I learned that resumes can be flexible and adaptable. I learned that the long haul might be longer than I imagined, but that did not make me a loser. I learned that the job that was just right for me might not even exist yet, or I might not even know about it yet. So I networked. I became a master networker. I'm telling you. One of the cool things about that was I learned how to connect other people in such a way that we all did better when we all did better. It wasn't just about me. That was a cool skill. And interestingly enough, when I did finally land a position, it was almost all about networking, relationship building, opening doors. I sent out over 1,200 resumes. I had 63 interviews. Some were really cool, I gotta tell you. One was President and CEO of Lutheran Social Services of Metropolitan New York City, downtown Manhattan. Whoa. I didn't get the call. 5 people voted in my favor. 1 person did not. They wanted a unanimous ballot, so I lost a 5-to-1 vote. Dig that. I interviewed for a position as Vice President of Marketing and Development and Communication at a large nonprofit here in Minnesota. And when the head of HR called me, I was so excited, it took me a while to realize she was crying. And I went, oh dear, you're calling to say no. I had just bought a new suit, put it on the credit card, right? My wife shrugged her shoulders, oh well, just one more thing. Our daughter happened to be there that day, and both she and my wife were crying as I hung up the phone. I got right back on the computer, right back on the phone, started making coffee appointments, sending resumes, just banging it out. How can Dad be so positive all the time, she asked. My wife said, I don't know. I'm sure glad he is. I took several part-time and temporary jobs, including work at a call center. Yes, I was that annoying person on the other end of the line calling with a survey. Be careful. I took a job at Thrivent to write a couple of chapters for a training manual on project management. I don't know the first thing about project management, and I was absolutely honest about that with them, okay? Here's the cool thing. They were more interested in my ability to write, and even more interested still in my ability to quickly develop relationships with key constituencies that I would need in order to finish the project on time. Writing, networking, relationship building, that was more important. Okay. Well, I heard about a job called Congregational Relationship Manager when I was at Thrivent. It's a brand new position. It was just getting developed, wasn't even out yet, wasn't out of the box yet. Now, I learned that it involved relationship building with key nonprofits like churches, schools, camps. Person had to have a strong sales background. Additional degrees would be welcome. Well, my doctorate is in adventure-based therapy. I was an Episcopal priest for 15 years in a wide variety of settings. I worked with churches and nonprofits in developing camping programs, for example. I taught undergraduate and graduate courses when I was on staff at the university. I had a thriving counseling practice. I was a Navy Reserve chaplain. Then I worked in sales and marketing positions for Fortune 500 companies, and I had grown up in retail. And as my daughter told her class when she was in first grade, my dad drinks coffee and talks to people. That was her perception of my job. Relationship building. I interviewed. Didn't get it. Jumped right back into networking, calling, driving out here. 6 months later, the guy who did get it quit, decided he didn't like the job. I saw that it was reposted, went through the whole process again, like it was my first time. Kept a happy face, no hard feelings, glad to be a part of things. That whole deal. Got it? This is where you clap and cheer. That's what they did when I came and told people. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. Well, I needed a suit. Check. I needed a car. Well, my mother-in-law had just died recently, and my wife's siblings said we could take it. But I had to drive all over eastern Minnesota, northwest Wisconsin. So I got in on a sign and drive lease. No money, got a car, started work. Not so smart maybe, but what can you do? I got reimbursed for mileage, so every month I put that money into a savings account, and by the time the lease was up, I had a significant down payment to buy the car a second time. Oh well, made it, moved on. Now I share part of my story with you so that you can fire up hope. Hope is not the opposite of despair in my mind. I had a lot of days where it was all I could do to take the dog out for a walk. She was actually part of my team too. We walked an hour and a half every day, no matter what. But yeah, I felt despair on occasion. I wondered if I was too old to ever get a job. I mean, a real job, one that would utilize my skills, my education, my interests, my experience. I was 55 years old. The opposite of hope, in my mind, is unbelief. Unbelief is the opposite of hope. And I never stopped believing. I never stopped my daily devotions. I never stopped going to church. I never stopped engaging in mission and ministry. People all around me saturated me in Little League affirmation. People at church, our neighbors, our friends, our family, never gave up on me. Some even covered bills that we were flooded with and we couldn't meet. My team and I kept hope alive 2.5 years. You know about hope. You know about opening day. In my book, I talk about opening day as hope revisited. Hope revisited. You know about opening day as a symbol of hope because you live in Minnesota. It has to do with winter. Winter in Minnesota is designed to kill you. You can't go outside without having shards of glass-like ice raking across your cheek, whipped by 20-mile-an-hour winds. You're alive, barely, because of the layers of clothing that you wear, the loss of which would result in instant death. When one of those layers is high-tech long underwear that never leaves your skin unless it's laundered or you're in the shower, you know about winter. And I know there's some of you out there that are showering with that high-tech underwear on. You're killing 2 birds with 1 bar of soap. I know you are. Opening day comes. You scramble over mounds of snert to get into Target Field where you see green grass for the first time in months. It's green because it has heater coils in the root system, right? Keep it from dying. Grown men burst into tears. Couples fall in love all over again. People see God. We made it. It's opening day. We survived winter. Oh, who cares if there's a snow delay in the middle of a 4th inning? It's opening day. Summer's coming eventually. It's got to be. It's not long now. We're still alive. Hope. Saturating each other in Little League affirmation allows us to meet the challenges that lie in front of us during our job search. It keeps hope alive. Like a little girl on a bike, saturating each other in Little League affirmation allows us to meet challenges and keep hope alive. This is a new year, maybe the beginning of a long haul season for some of us. Today is kind of like an opening day experience. Whether this is your first job, your job search opening day, or like mine, second one, the long haul season is an opportunity to hone the skills and experiences you'll need for your new job. Think about all the coffee I drank, all the networking I did, the new suit. That job may not even exist yet. And by the way, in case you're wondering, my wife applied for a position at a large church where the hiring manager had already begun to interview. But she told my wife to send a resume anyway. The very next day, my wife was interviewing. When she walked in, the hiring manager began to cry and she said, "You're the person God has made ready for us." My wife started crying and she said, "This is the job I've been preparing for all my life." They hadn't even started talking about the job. How cool is that? We were both saturated in Little League affirmation for the rest of our working careers. Little League affirmation is simple to do. It's easy. Anybody can do it. Consistency is the tricky part, keeping it up. But consistency makes the long haul season worth it. Worth it. The long haul season of searching for a job. The long haul season of being part of a long-term marriage, friendship, family, country. So you need a team. Part of your team is in this room. Part of your team is out there. And keep swinging.